Alright, let's push some picking endurance now. So still doing some 3-note chords, or 3-string chords. Just consistent picking the whole time now. So you might find your arm gets a little extra tired sooner, but let's have you push it anyway and let's see what happens. So far things are going well. So here we go. This is what it should sound like at 60 beats a minute. Well, that was weird. Felt like shit, my wrist was like moving around. And not in a pleasant way. Not a bad way. What the hell? That was weird. Anyway, here's what it is at 120. $160. Let's do 180 since that's what you get the last one up to. $200. Good for that. Next one, gonna do a single string one again. So now you've been working on picking fast with the chords. Let's see what happens now that we go back to single notes. So this is kind of like what you just did, but you're changing a note every 4 picks, so basically every beat. Just like basically doing the same root notes you just did, but that's what we have. I should probably slow that back down. Here's what it is at 60. Alright, 120. I'll pick that too many times at the end. Take 2. There we go. Alright, 160. Let's go ahead and do 180 next. $200. $220. Okay. So the new rhythm. I decided let's just do one new one again, since this is kind of I guess you call it a remote lesson, since I can't watch you play it here. So this is what I want you to do first before you continue watching this part of the video. See if you can count it before you watch this part. See if you can get it figured out. Just remember, if you are having a hard time counting it just by reading it, you do that technique I told you, I had you do, where you write out a full bar of 16th notes. So you're going to literally write out 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and then you underline the portion of the beat you play on. So one thing I did notice on your rhythm performance video, you strummed it correctly. You placed everything in the right spot. The only thing that's probably going to trip you up in other rhythms, it might not, but it might. So when you divide up the 16th note, your typical pattern is you say, well, I'll just say 1. So you got your 1, E, and So since that's basically the rhythm we're starting with here, so you know most of what's happening here already. The tricky part comes over here. Anyway, but this beat, which is the rhythm you did for everything on the last one, so you were counting it. I believe it sounded like this. You're going like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and instead of 1 E 2 E 3 E 4 E because the and, if you say it the typical way, the and comes in between the E and the You have your 1 E and So you put everything in the right spot as far as how it's supposed to be strummed, so that's good. But if you had something like this, the highlighted rhythm right there, and then let's say you had a gallop after that. So the gallop is 1 and 1 and 2 and 3. So that's a separate sound. I'm saying like the 1 E and an versus what's highlighted right there, right? So if you were to say both, you know what? Let me. I'm just gonna add something down here to help visualize what the hell I'm saying. So. Okay, so beat 1 here. That's the rhythm you had last time, and then here you just have your standard gallop. So remember, what maybe I'm wrong. I could be just running my mouth for no reason right here, but it did sound like you said and instead of E. That's just what it sounded like. I could be wrong here. Maybe I misheard you. So when you say a gallop, you go number and. I was like, in this case, 2 and if you say and instead of E for this, see if this sounds confusing at all. And I'm just kind of trying to mentally prepare myself for this because now I'm trying to say it in a way I don't normally say. It's going to be weird. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so that would be saying and every single time in the middle instead of the E, versus this, the way I would count it, 1 E 2 and 3 E 4 and 1 E 2 and 3 E 4 and so to me that's much more suitable to do, or more useful anyway, because you have 2 different rhythms up there, right? You have this rhythm, you have that rhythm. Saying it like the 1 E and then 2 and saying E when it's appropriate and when it's appropriate. You're separating those 2 rhythms into 2 distinct things. So that's the whole point I was trying to get at. If you say it with the E, like up here, 1 E instead of 1 and you will be making a more distinct difference between the highlighted rhythm here and, say, a gallop. And even the gallop is 1 E and. The reverse gallop is 1 E and, 2 E and, not 1 and, 2 and, 1 E and, 2 E and, so on. Okay, so now that I've gone and said all that stuff, remember, trying to figure this out first by yourself. But the hard part, so let's assume you did it. So if you did it right, it gets weird over in this spot, basically, because you're doing 4 consecutive upstrokes. Up, 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 up. So 4 upstrokes in a row at the end of each bar here. So this is kind of like preparation to get you to do all upstrokes in the 16th note pattern. So you're always tapping your foot on just the downbeat, but only doing upstrokes. But we're getting to that. All right, so here we go with the new rhythm. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, E, 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 done. Now that pace might be too fast, like when you're first starting it. So let me do this at like 40, so you can hear and see things a little bit better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, E, 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 boom. And going at that slow of a tempo, it's extra helpful keeping the hand going down, up, down, up, down, up the whole time, as we've talked about you needing to do. Because if you did any of that pause stuff and waited until the last possible moment to do the appropriate strum direction, it's going to throw you off playing that slow. So that constant down and up motion there helps me and others stay in line with the beat and the rhythm there, especially something that slow. So that covers all the new stuff and a little bit of the old. So if you got any questions, let me know. I will plan on seeing you on Sunday.